I came across a quote recently by Saint Augustine where he said, "Complete abstinence is easier than perfect moderation." And honestly, that sums up why I'm moving to the other side of the world. Let me explain. For the past year, I've lived in Paris and it's been incredible. Truly, I can't complain. But I've decided to leave it all behind and move to a new place where I have no friends or partner. I don't speak the language and I'll know I'll never fully integrate because, well, I'm not Korean. Anyway, my point is, I'm intentionally making my life 10 times harder than it needs to be. Why? Well, if you think about it, from the moment we're born until our mid-20s, our world is constantly changing. Our bodies grow, we experience new emotions, and our environment evolves, from schools to colleges and everything in between. We're always learning, adapting, and feeling something new. But eventually, most of us settle into a routine. And a routine isn't inherently bad, it can even be great. But routine is still routine. It's repetitive and predictable, whether you're a pianist or a neurosurgeon. And routine isn't just what you do, it's your current views and opinions. It's the way you see the world. It's what you prioritize. All of these things become your routine, a routine you live through and with, whether it's negative, dull, exciting, or not. And in my case, last year, I found myself in that place, routine. And before last year, I had truly believed that growth and change were easy to work towards too, no matter the environment a person would be in. This is because before last year, I had never personally been in any type of real repetitive routine in my life. There was always something new going on, and I was always growing thanks to that. And not even because I was, actively trying to find something new. It just kind of happened that way for me. Anyway, and then I finally experienced routine. Honestly, I liked it. It was nice, but I also felt partially unsatisfied with the general trajectory of my life. I wasn't exactly living on autopilot, but I kept prioritizing joy and comfort over growth. And no matter how much I wanted to focus on my personal goals, it felt impossible to prioritize them. It's like people grow slowly in stable and familiar environments. It's like evolution, basically. If everything's fine, if the world is not ending, and if you're doing, 5 over 10 okay, then there's no real need to change. So familiar environments usually keep you tied to a familiar version of yourself and make it very difficult for you to evolve because there's literally no need for it. You can always tell yourself that you just evolve later on. It's procrastination on steroids, basically. But in uncomfortable, unsafe-ish or challenging environments, growth comes faster. It's almost easier to change. This is kind of why it's easier to hyper-focus on a project right before a deadline. And I feel like that's why a lot of people aren't able to do the things they say they want to do. Their routine just isn't comfortable enough to make them want to escape from it. And comfort doesn't mean happiness. Comfort can mean basic things, like an ability to just live life day to day, even if it's just extremely average or boring, as long as you're used to it. For me, the last time I made any real change to my life was when I was in the most financially unstable period of my life and realized that no one was coming to save me. The discomfort was so great that I had no choice but to do the thing, which got me the job that I have today, which is how I'm able to just leave. But that was motivation. Now I'm looking for discipline. So anyway, while Paris gave me so many beautiful memories, by the end of the year, I realized that I was satisfied with the experiences I had had, but unsatisfied with my personal growth. There are so many things I want to achieve in this lifetime, whether they're financial, emotional, or spiritual goals. And honestly, it's been hard to focus on cultivating the skills and time to achieve these goals. Now, sure, I could have tried to make my environment in Paris less comfortable, push myself into new, challenging situations, but that's where St. Augustine's quote comes in. Again, complete abstinence is easier than perfect moderation. I've come to realize that I honestly lack the discipline to constantly resist comfort. I am a natural-born procrastinator. I don't do moderation. And Paris was just too comfortable and fun. And when your routine is wholeheartedly enjoyable, it takes an incredible amount of control to deny yourself momentary joy for future gains. Now I know I'm essentially telling you I had too much fun, so I had to escape because I'm not disciplined. But I think that even if your routine is currently horrible, like super average, this is a fact, any type of routine is hard to escape from. So here I am, moving thousands of kilometers away to an environment where there's, little temptation, compared to Paris at least. A place where I can fully concentrate on what I want to achieve. Of course, I'll still need a bit of comfort, so it's not complete abstinence, but it's far from moderation. It's restrictive because I think that's what I need to cultivate discipline. And discipline, I believe, is a solution to so many of life's challenges, unfortunately. It's also what I lack the most. Up until now, I feel like everything I've achieved has been through vibes and motivation. But it's time to grow up, I guess. So moving to Korea isn't about finding myself, because honestly, I know who I am, and I know that's not set in stone, and I'm okay with that. But it's about discovering more of myself and hyper-focusing on my goals. So why Korea, specifically? I could try to justify it logically, like how Seoul is surrounded by mountains, has amazing art spaces, and is a city that never sleeps. But honestly, it's just a gut feeling. Something inside me says I need to be there, even if it doesn't fully make sense. And as I've gotten older, I've learned to trust my gut more. So here I am at the airport, trusting my gut, feeling excited, but also a little nauseous because this is scary as well, I guess. I thought I was gonna be very happy about leaving, and I am, honestly. It's just, I'm also sad, which is an interesting duality. This is the first time in my life where I'm actually like realizing why in some movies and books, even though people are in love, they don't continue a relationship together. Because they don't want the same thing, or because maybe one person wants one thing that doesn't work with the other thing that they want as well. I wasn't in a relationship, but that was like my relationship with Paris, I guess. عم بتفلسف شوي كتير معك. But anyway, that's how I feel. I feel like this is the first time where to gain something I want, I have to give up a part of myself and finally understand how, as an adult, sometimes the decisions that you make, well, actually a lot of times the decision that you make, they're not going to necessarily feel like the best decision. They're just going to feel like a decision. And I feel like a lot of people get stuck in that branching instead of actually branching. It's like, should I go left or right? And you keep pondering, and then the decision makes itself for you. You've pondered so much that you can no longer choose A or B, and B chose you instead, if that makes sense. And for me, I didn't want B or A to choose me. I wanted to choose A or B. So I chose, one part of the branch, leaving the other one behind. I don't do regrets. I don't do regrets, girl. So I know I'm not going to regret this. But I can look at my life in Paris, like if I stayed there and what it would be like in the trajectory more or less. And I'm like, would have also been very nice.